What's up, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, April 21st, 2020, I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you can make it here today. I'm quite aware you could have been anywhere in this world today, but you decided to be here with me, and I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So, welcome to Transition Tuesdays on this nice Tuesday, kind of I'm not going to say balmy, but it's very clear day here in New York City here in Queens, as we have John joining us. What's going on, John? And we got my sister cuz Gina joining us. What's going on? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. So, a couple things before we start the show. Yes, you did, Gina. You did make it. I'm proud that you're here. And we're going to have some discussion on that. I want to get your feedback too, so stay put. So, guys, before we start the show, I always like to state my intentions. And my intentions, they never change. My intentions is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life's transition. Okay, so that's what we do here on Transition Tuesdays. And I was slated to have a guest to come on today. I don't think this guest is going to be able to make it. So I have you guys and you guys have me. So we're going to do it like that. So John says, hope all is well. Love the shirt. Best to you and your mom. Hey, I appreciate that. You know what, John? I had to give some type of laughter, in the pandemic in which we're going through. So I decided to put on my Richard Pryor shirt, the king of comedy. I had to put on my Richard Pryor shirt to give us a little laugh, or maybe, some people need laughs out here now, as I need laughs every day. So I thought it was fitting to put on this Richard Pryor shirt. I appreciate the sentiments if you liking the shirt, John. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you briefly. Well, first of all, how you guys doing? How's everybody doing out there? How's everybody, during this pandemic? It's been many weeks since we've been on talking about it, but I just want to know how you guys are doing. Are you guys hunkering down? I know you guys are in your homes. Have we gotten cabin fever? What's going on? I know in certain places they're going to be opening, certain states they're going to be opening for business, like in Georgia. They're going to be opening barbershops. They're going to be opening hair salons, bowling alleys for business in some certain parts of Georgia, which I don't understand, but that's what's going on. We got Joseph joining us. What's going on, Joseph? We also have Al joining us. What's going on? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, everybody. So just wondering how everybody is doing out there. So, hey, if you guys who just joined us, let me know where you're from, man. That way I can see how you guys are doing in your neck of the woods. I know John is from New Mexico. How's everything going there, John? And we got Gina is in North Carolina. So, Gina, how's everything going there as well? So, just when you come on, guys, just shout out, tell me where you're from or where you are and what's going on. Carol is joining us. What's going on, Carol? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. I know Carol lives in New York, so I know how she's doing. We got my boy Chris B. Williams, Uncle Smoothie, joining us. What's going on, Smooth? How are things going in Florida? Carol says, doing okay. How are you and your mom? I hope they wait a while here. It seems too soon. Yes, I agree. Well, first of all, Carol, my mom, Miss May, is doing well. She says hello to you and everybody out there. And like you said, yeah, it seems like they're opening up these places too soon. Hopefully it won't be too soon, or hopefully it works. But again, we don't want a setback. And I know Chris is here. I know Chris is in Florida. And I know places like in Jacksonville, Florida, they've opened up beaches. And they're going to be opening up some other businesses as well. So we're going to see how that goes, what the situation is on that. Chris says West Palm Beach, Florida. That's right. Yep, all day. Yes. So Chris is coming from West Palm Beach, Florida. How's everything there in West Palm Beach, Chris, in terms of people? Are they practicing social distancing there? Let me know what's going on there. Okay. So, speaking of what's going on with that, has everybody out there got their stimulus check yet? Has anybody got their stimulus check or deposit or what have you? Chris says they're about to let the dogs out. Now, what do you mean by that, Chris? You mean they're about to let everybody, is it going to be open for business there in Florida? Is that what you mean by dogs out? Just, let's see. And John says governor reacted quickly. Let me just read John's. Governor reacted quickly here. shutting things down. In my opinion, a great move. Prevented deaths. We have about 60. One is too many, but I believe the governor's action has helped. Be safe, everybody. Yes, appreciate that, John. So yeah, so that's what's going on in New Mexico. Yeah. So they were quick to it. So that's a good thing, John. Thank you for sharing that. Also, Gina says, folks in North Carolina have lost their minds. But that's them. They can open up the world, but how can they say in church, me and my house gonna serve the Lord and use good sense? Absolutely. Yes. Good sense is always the best measure. Good job there, Gina. We got who we got here joining us? We got Sharon Turner joining us. Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We got Blake Zamjan joining us. Now, Blake is a guy I used to coach at Brother Martin High School. So Blake says, how are you doing, coach? Love what you're doing. I got my stimulus check about 2 weeks ago, and for a college kid, it was much needed. I got you, Blake. I got you, man. How are things going there in New Orleans? I know you got your stimulus check, so spend that wisely, sir. And I know you're going to be going back to LSU soon. And also, Blake, my daughter Tay is going to be a freshman, so I'm going to need you to be her personal bodyguard. If anything happens, if she's doing anything wrong, we're going to be on the hotline, you and I, Blake, okay? You got to watch over my sweetheart for me, okay? We got to do that. Chris also says they are shooting for April 30th here, a 4-phase method. Yes, okay, so that's what they're doing in West Palm Beach. Yep, April 30th. That's like next week, I believe. Yep, next week. So, man, let's hope everything works out there, and especially across the country. Yeah, because it's getting kind of crazy. It's getting nuts, and again, we don't want to set back by opening up too soon. I think personally, especially those places that weren't hot spots, but if you reopen them, then it can become a hot spot. And who's to say, like people here in New York, okay? Who's to say, like, if I knew these places were opening, let's say in Georgia or certain places in Florida, who's to say that I couldn't drive down here from New York, come to those states, and then maybe, me being in New York and not knowing I have the virus or what have you, maybe infecting people. Then you're at square one. I mean, these things have to be thought about. I don't think these things were thought wisely, especially with these particular states opening up so soon. I think we have to, we just got to let things happen the way they are. Social distancing has been working. So I know we want to get our country back and running, up and flowing, but, common sense, like my sister cuz Gina talked about, is a virtue here. Chris says, I'm not falling for it. So Chris, so what are you saying, Chris? So you said when they open 30th, your doors won't be open, like you won't be attending these places, right, Smooth? Is that what you're saying? You're not falling for it? I hope that's the case. I know, Chris, you're going to use common sense. I know. You blessed with common sense, my man. I know you. We got Gregory joining us as well. What's going on, Gregory? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. So yeah, my man Blake, he mentioned he got his stimulus check. He's a college student. Everybody else out there get a stimulus check. Me personally and my mom here, Miss May, we haven't got our stimulus checks yet. I don't know what's going on. My mom has instructed me to go to the mailbox every day at 11:05 to see if that stimulus check has come in. It has not come in today, as of today, April 21st. It hasn't come in. But I don't I don't know what's going on. And here's my deal too. Here's my plight. I know it's either it's going to come by check or direct deposit. So I've been on the horn with the IRS on the website, been on there, got to the point in which I'm putting in my information about direct deposit, my business, my banking information. I click on that. And then next thing you know, it just clicks me out of it. It just sends me out of it. Just kicks me out of it. It gets really frustrating doing that. So Blake says mine was direct deposit. Yep, I got you, Blake. I'm trying to get to that spot, man. And Star says, what's up, Star? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Star says, what up, though? For the D. Star says, I agree. It's going to take some time. Yes, it is going to take some time. And how's it going there, Star, in the D, in Detroit, in that Michigan area? I know they were kind of hit hard just like it is here in New York, but how's everything going there in in the Michigan area, especially in the D? How's everything going there? But in terms of that direct deposit, yeah, I mean, direct deposit for the stimulus. Again, I've been on the horn daily, nightly, trying to get the direct deposit for my stimulus check, and it always kicks me out, and it's really frustrating to do that. So, I mean, I just been doing that, and it's, oh man, it's just been a pain. I just gotta have the patience so I can get my direct deposit like my man Blake did. Star says protesters are wanting to open it up. Yeah, I've seen that, Star, in Michigan, like these protesters, and they're not practicing social distancing. You know, they don't have any masks. Some of them don't even have any gloves on, and they're trying to, protest for, getting their rights. And, it doesn't help matters when the, number 45 is sounding the blue horn, the bullhorn saying, liberate your state. That doesn't help in the matter. And Star says people are having large gatherings. Yeah, so, and that doesn't make any sense because it's the president's guidelines that we're supposed to be following. And then here you have these people protesting like they are in the state of Michigan, protesting. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. We got my man Ed joining us. Welcome, Ed. Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Glad to have you. So, we have to really watch this. We got to do our due diligence, guys. If things do open up, like my cousin Gina says, you just got to practice common sense when these things open up. That way we can lower the curb that we talked about. Lower that curb, get it down so we can be able to prosper and come out eventually. But we just have to do that. Just practice common sense in the area, especially that's about to open up. And, I would definitely, talk about that. And again, but that stimulus check situation, again, everybody out there, I know my man Blake has his. Anybody else received their stimulus check? Can you maybe give me some tricks on, if you did receive it via the IRS? And again, I've been trying to get through, and again, I get kicked out the last second, which I have all my information in. Isn't any tricks that somebody could give me to try to get that via direct deposit? Because again, my mom is on my neck. She's just saying, Russ, where is the stimulus check? I need you to go to the mailbox and see if it's here. So I need some help. I need some relief. So Star says, I got mine by direct deposit. Yes, I know I got you, Star. Man, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get my stimulus check via direct deposit, but it keeps kicking me out. Is it anybody out there that can help me get my stimulus check? I want to be like everybody else. Is there anybody out there, though, guys, since we're talking, is there anybody out there who has their stimulus check was mailed to them? I'd like to get the response on that and see if you have that stimulus check. So, that's something we could definitely talk about. And while we're doing that and while I'm waiting for responses on that, I wanted to just transition to something really quick. The Last Dance, the documentary, the 30 for 30 documentary that just came out this past Sunday on ESPN. Just wanted to get people's thoughts on that. Gina says, I got SSDI, so my tax person says it will come later. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Gina. Appreciate that. Yeah, and in terms of that stimulus check, I know, well, Chris says, I think 45 heard you were talking about him, so he held yours. Well, thank you, Chris. You know what? Hey, I'm just stating facts out here. All I do is just state facts, Chris. So, if that's the case, that's the case. So all I know is I don't have mine. You know what I mean? So what is the holdup? Well, I know one thing might be the holdup was, last week they were saying it was a holdup because he had to have his name and subscribed on each check. And I think that held up the process if it was going to be mailed to you. So Chris says you should get it this week. Hey, I appreciate that, Chris. Hey, Chris, what are you in the know, man? You got the hotline to number 45 to get to get my check for me? I hope you do, man. I hope you do. Gina says, Russ, you make too much money, yo. Nah, nope. That's definitely not the case. That's why I'm looking for my stimulus check there, Gina. As Ross is joining us. Welcome, Ross. Welcome to Transition Tuesday. It's great having you and everybody else out there. So, was talking about The Last Dance, and episodes 1 and 2 just came out. Episodes 1 and 2 just came out. And I want to get people's takeaways from it, through the process. Ross says, I don't have mine too, bro. There you go. There we go, Ross. Okay, we're in the same boat, man. We just need a life preserver because right now that boat has a leak in it. So we need a life preserver. We need our stimulus check. Me and you, Ross. We here together, man. So we're just waiting on ours. When is it coming? So in terms of that last dance, right? The takeaway, I'll give a takeaway. One takeaway that I really wanted to share with everybody was, you really get the backstory about Michael Jordan and how competitive he was. I mean, something I learned was like his brother Larry, like he mentioned, if it wasn't for his brother Larry Jordan, he wouldn't be the competitive nature, the competitive force in which he is now. He had to, play against his brother. His brother was better than him. Then after that, he had to fight his brother. So these are things that you learn, the takeaway that he had to work hard. He worked hard for everything he got. That's the one takeaway I take away. Well, the one takeaway I take away from it, again, is just working hard. You got to work hard. Here's a guy who was blessed with like physical gifts, but you tack on the ferociousness that he had, in his DNA, and him by working hard. That was a great takeaway I take from it. And we got Keisha joining us. What's on, Keisha? From the D, what up, though? What's going on? So that's one takeaway. Another thing I take away was the general manager, Jerry Krause. Man, I didn't realize he kind of like took a beating as the general manager. And here's a guy who did a phenomenal job as the general manager. But again, I think sometimes, a lot of times ego comes into play. And this, that team who won 6 championships, if it wasn't for like egos that get in the way and, the breaking down of that team, who's to say how many championships they would have won? And, and again, 2 teams could have been changed in the balance in terms of history. Like, for example, the Chicago Bulls, if they would have had everybody intact, they probably won like 8 or 9 championships. And that would have affected the fortunes of the Los Angeles Lakers because Phil Jackson, as you guys know, left the Chicago Bulls to coach the Lakers, and they won 3 titles there. So, a lot of stuff could have been changed. A lot of histories could have been written, if this team would have stayed intact. And it looked like Jerry Krause was the architect. He got the people around Michael Jordan, and with the great trade for Scottie Pippen and everything. But again, he kind of dismantled. He's the one guy that really dismantled this dynasty, as we seen in the Last Dance episodes 1 and 2. So, one man really broke it down. One man really broke down the whole thing. And, so that's one thing. That's one takeaway. I didn't know about that watching The Last Dance. And the other thing, another takeaway I really enjoyed listening to, because I love stories. I love stories about, I just love stories, love hearing stories. And I love the story about Michael Jordan, his rookie year, going to the hotel room, and his teammates are in there. They're taking cocaine, a lot of weed, messing around with women in there, and he just knew straight there, like, he couldn't lead that team by providing a voice, because here he was a rookie. Now he had to lead the team based on his actions. And then again, it took that 3rd game as a rookie for him to really shine and take hold of, that leadership as a rookie. And here's a guy who just went on to, with the strength of that and the confidence of that 3rd game, putting this team on his back, with the confidence of that led him to be rookie of the year. And that led for them to get in the playoffs. And another thing about that, in terms of Michael Jordan, was that playoff run that he had. He was, when he broke his foot his sophomore year, second year I should say. It's not college, it's pros. So here's a guy who came back in 63 games later, was on a time restrictions of 7 minutes per quarter. Then they needed a pivotal game to get to the playoffs. and the coach, sat him down because from the leadership up top told him, hey, look, if you put Jordan in this game, you will be fired on the spot. And this guy is so competitive. He wasn't worried about his foot, re-injuring, that injury or breaking the foot again. He wanted to get in there to help his team, and that's what that guy, Michael Jordan, was all about. Helping his team get to the promised land. That's one thing that we really see about that. And Carol says, let me just take a look at Carol says. Before that, Chris says, Michael was so fundamentally sound. Yes, he was. So fundamentally sound and smooth, as you know, because you play basketball. And and I'll share a funny story with you guys. Speaking of my man Smooth is on here and Michael Jordan. Chris and myself, Smooth, we got a chance to meet Michael Jordan. That's a great story in itself. When Chris and I used to work for the company, Recognition Company, we got a chance to work with Michael Jordan in the Jordan Classic. So we did the rings for the organization. So Chris along myself, we went down there. We got a chance to meet Mike. And it's funny too, Chris, and you can contest to this, Smooth, and you can chime in if you would. Well, so we go and meet Michael Jordan. And I remember Chris was the first one. So Chris went in there, extended his hand to Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan gave Chris the brother man handshake, brought him in and everything. He said, hey, I'm glad you're here and everything. And I was like, wow, I'm shocked at this. So it was my turn. So I did the same thing. So we had a great experience meeting Michael Jordan, our idols for us, our basketball god, idol for us, meeting him in the flesh. He invited us to the Jordan class. He invited us to the banquet. He invited to the actual game as well. So, that's a great story. So I'm glad my man Smooth is on here to contest that story and talk about that story too. So chime in on that, Smooth. And Carol says, that's important. Good point. We can get through anything if we just give it our all. And we act as a community. Good comparison. Oh, I appreciate that, Carol. Thank you so much. And Chris also says, you see the business side of the sports also. Yeah, you, in terms of the Last Dance, you're absolutely right, Smooth. We talked about that. Yeah, a lot of times it takes the business side of sports, takes out the fun of it. And Chris and I, we talked about this. A lot of times when people play in the pros, that business side overtakes the funness of it. And a lot of times people are burnt out because of that business side. And we saw that in this Last Dance, the business end of it in terms of Scottie Pippen, signing that bad contract, wanted to renegotiate. But, management, they didn't renegotiate contracts at that time. That's the business side of it all, and sometimes that takes away from the sport and having fun of the sport as well. We got Janice joining us. Janice, what's going on? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my Jasper sister. So, yeah, a lot was the business aspect of it. And again, that's a great point that you make there, Smooth, and that's a great thing to take away from it, is a lot of times the business side of it can take away from things. Like, for example, let's talk about Scottie Pippen in that episode 2. The business side was it for him. He signed that bad contract. And number one, that contract was like 122nd ranked in terms of salaries that year in 1997-98. And think about this, guys. There's only 250 players in the NBA. So he ranked 122 in terms of player's salary. So, but again, his business side of it was, I want to sign this contract, that 7-year contract, take care of my family, who is, his dad was in a wheelchair, his brother got in an accident, he was paralyzed as well, so he's trying to take care of his family, so he's just trying to get that money up front. So, a lot of times the business side overtakes, the funness of it, or the time that you have to do things. So the business side is a very, very big thing in this matter, especially watching this doc. So that's another takeaway I take away from it. Another takeaway I take away from it is that this shows you, and it shows these millennials out there, and it's important that they watch this show because, like I was talking about with Smooth before, what happens is if you didn't get a chance to see Michael Jordan play, like you have LeBron James or you did a Kobe Bryant, this really gives us justice about Michael Jordan, who he was as a player. And again, this gives you this gives you an opportunity to reminisce, go back in time. I loved it when this show started. They were playing Mace, they were playing Biggie, Puffy. They was playing the music of that time in 97, 98. You got a chance to see like the big suits that Jordan and everybody else was wearing. It really brings you back to a time. So that's another takeaway I take away from it. It brings you back. You get a chance to rewind and go back to a time in which, when that timetable went through. Like for me, I was only 28 years old when 97, 98. So it brings me back to a time, especially with the music, the hip hop, the fashion, and Michael Jordan playing. And Chris says, I thought Mike was cool when we first met. He had good energy, a little bigger than I expected. I think I could take him. Yeah, that's Smooth for you. Smooth thinks he can take everybody. He measures everybody up, but but that is funny. But yeah, he was cool though, right? Smooth, he was a cool guy, man. He was down to earth. We had to get through his detail first, and we got through his detail. But yeah, he was really a cool guy. And Gina says, gents, millennials should be in the workforce, but this kid in here, they know everything. Generation Z want it easy. Yes, that's true. Yeah, I get, you're right there, Gina. You got kids, you know that. They do want it easy, the easier way. But, we see a guy like Michael Jordan who didn't take any shortcuts. It was like hard work. That's what it was. But again, this generation is a little bit different. With this generation is like the microwave age. They want it now. They want it fast and they want it now. That the microwave age. We got Neil joining us. Welcome, Neil, my Jasper brother. Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Great having you. So, yeah, The Last Dance. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see episodes 3 and 4. That's gonna be good. And I know I got a lot of people here from the D. And I know they're going to be concentrating on Dennis Rodman. And the reports I've been getting on The Last Dance, they say right after episode 3 and 4, they say number 4 is supposed to be the best episode because they're going to really focus on Dennis Rodman. They're going to focus on the bad boys. So maybe my people from the D, they can chime in next week, when we talk about The Last Dance. So, that I'm really looking forward to that. And we'll discuss some takeaways about the show, The Last Dance, for next week. So, those are my takeaways, and I hope you guys have some takeaways as well. But it's great watching it. Right now we have nothing else going on, so I'm sure the ratings are going to be through the roof, and it's a great escapism. So I'm glad it's on. I can't wait I can't wait for it to come on next week. I can't wait for it to come on next week as well. So hey, so ladies and gentlemen, if I was able to make you laugh, smile, or think during this recording, you have accomplished something major, ladies and gentlemen. So like I always say, what do I always say? Man, I'm just drawing a blank right now. Celebrate your victory. There you go. Yes. What? My God, man. I got a stimulus check on my mind. I'm forgetting things. Yeah. Celebrate your victory. I want to have the opportunity to celebrate my victory when I receive my stimulus check. Where is it? I want to celebrate. I want to celebrate with the rest of everybody else. I want to celebrate. I want to be able to get through the IRS website so I can have it via direct deposit. I want to get through. Then that way, when I do get it, guys, we're going to celebrate, and I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to let you know that. I'll do that by next week's show. I would definitely do that. But celebrate your victory. Victories are few and far between, especially during this time. But, just take the time to celebrate your victory out there, everybody. Make sure you take the time to do so. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching Transition Tuesdays. I'm going to post this particular video on our YouTube, which is Transition Tuesdays. So I'm going to post that. So, we'll be able to talk some more. And I'm going to play my theme music as we're about to head out here. But again, I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for watching Transition Tuesdays. And when we're done here today, here's what I need you guys to do for me, Transition Army. I need you to go on the Russ and Kaylanice Experience, the podcast. Okay? I'm not sure if you guys heard from me before in the past, but we do have a podcast, the Russ and Kaylanice Experience podcast, okay? You can go on Spotify. You can go on iTunes. When you do on there, subscribe. It's done for free. Subscribe. Share it, okay? Do all these things. I want your input, guys. I want your input there. My Transition Army on the Russ and Kayla Niece Experience. We're on episode 10, which is a milestone for us. 10 episodes. We had a great guest that joined us this past week, Miss Kira Abud. She is a fashion designer for Ava Giselle Collections. You're going to love this particular interview with her. She is a fashionista. She is a visionary. You're going to love that. So make sure you go on the Russ and Kayla Niece Experience. Check that out. Subscribe to it. Okay, we'll love to have you. Again, we have great guests on there. It's a self-improvement channel that we do. You know, we had a lot of fun, and we're just sharing our experiences with the masses, and we want you to be a part of it. So again, when we're done here today, go to the Russ and Kayla Niece Experience on major podcast platforms. Check it out. Okay, you'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. All right. So, as I say in part, ladies and gentlemen, happy transitioning, and we'll talk to you next week. And again, everybody out there, praying for you all. Be safe, and we'll talk next week. Take care, everybody. As I go get my check, I'm going to go to the mailbox right now. Take care, everybody.